Hello fellow agents, welcome back to the channel. In the previous video I showed you how to initialize the SQLite database and how to work with SQLAlchemy and insert something into it. So in today's video I'm gonna implement the out command, which will insert a new entry to the entry table, but first let's create the entry table. Alright, so the entry table is gonna be also very simple. I need to import from typing the optional. Because some of the fields are not mandatory. So the entry table is quite simple. It has an auto increment field called ID. The site URL is going to be the URL where we want to use the password, and email, username are optional because maybe he's using the email to log in or the username. So I don't want to force the user to enter them both. And the password is actually gonna be a string. So let's remove the passwords SQLite and regenerate the tables with the init command. Alright, and you see we have the entries table as well. Okay, so let's go to the out command and try to implement it. So we need a site URL, as email, a username, and a password. So here I'm gonna add options like this. So SU is gonna be a site URL, U is gonna be a username, email, and password. And I'm gonna add all the parameters here. Okay, those are the fields I'm gonna use to create the stuff. But we have also something which I'm gonna talk a bit about. It is getting the master password. Because we are getting the master password, because we don't want anyone to access the database. Actually, I need a tool which I'm going to implement in the utils, which will check the master password. Okay, so in the utils I'm importing the hashlib as well. I'm using the exact same technique what I used in the init to generate the hash 256 SHA-256 hash of the password. So, and actually what it does is returns if what the user entered as a master password, the hash of it exactly matches from the hash what is stored in the database. So for this, first I need to get the master password hash from the database. So I'm going to use all the tools what we have in the model SPY, and I'm getting the config, and I'm getting the config but only the first item. Okay, so the master password hash is going to be config master password hash, and the device salt config device salt. Okay. Also, I'm just adding some nice doc strings, so it will show up if I just type the actual software to run. So once I have it, I'm gonna do a check on the master password if, and I also need to import it. So check master password if check master password. This is the master password that you as a user typing, and the second argument is the master password hash, which I just retrieved from the database. If it's true, I'm gonna print okay, master password is fine, so we can move forward. And for this also I need rich to print out nice lines, else I'm just gonna raise an exception. Alright, so let's see how it goes. So add, it asks for a master password. Let's say I type a wrong one, it's aborted. Okay, let's say I type the correct one and it says master password okay, and we are ready to move forward. So if the user doesn't provide a password on the command line, because for example, let's say he just wants to register to a new service, we are going to generate one for him. If password is none, I'm gonna password check master password, and the other one we generate password. Okay, and also I'm gonna print that a new, and also I'm gonna notify the user, so a new random password is generated for him. Okay, to encrypt our passwords, I'm gonna use which is called a key derivation algorithm. So key derivation and key stretching algorithms are designed for secure password hashing, so it will add an additional layer of security. Naive algorithms such SHA-2 and SHA-1 password are not resistant against brute force attacks. A good password hashing function must be tunable, slow, and include salt. So, okay, so let's implement this. So I'm gonna use in the utils, I'm gonna add the get master key. Basically what it does, it gets the master password, and also this is where I'm gonna use the device salt which I've stored in the database. And just let you know, storing the device salt here in the database is not actually 100% correct, because this device salt should be stored on the device where you are using the stuff. Because for example, if someone gets the database, actually they will know that what is the device salt, and they can already start running a rainbow table attack against it. Okay, but for this video it is not very important. I just want to run something which can give us good results. Okay, so let's get back to the CMD add. First, I'm gonna get the master key. Okay. I need a master password, and the second argument is device salt. Okay, once I have it, I can actually add an entry. Okay, the site URL is going to be the site URL. Username is username. Email, and the last one is password. Oh, no. Password. This is where I'm going to use the encryption. And for encryption, I'm going to use the plain text of a password which is provided. And also, I'm going to pass the master key, what we just generated. Okay, but how this encrypt and decrypt functions should look like. It should have a plain text as a first parameter and a master key as a second parameter, and it should return bytes. Alright, first I'm going to use the AES symmetric encryption to make it happen. Okay, so I have this PyCryptodrome library which provides us with the AES. I'm gonna import OS as well, and base 64, and also from the crypto util padding I need to import pad. Alright, and basically we are done. So what it does, it creates a random 16 bytes initialization vector. I'm creating a cipher with the master key and AES mode CBC and with the initialization vector, and I'm using the encryption on it. But first I need to pad it because AES actually works on 16 bytes of data, and if it's the original plain stack doesn't fit it, we need to pad it with something to actually be able to feed it to the encrypt method. And once we have it, we just return the base 64 encoded version of the text. Alright, so let me import it. Okay, and with this I need to use the same technique and save it into the database. Okay, we are almost done. And finally, I'm printing out we are okay. So let's see how it goes. So, for example, I want to go to your site and your email and the MySQL password. I'm typing enter. Okay. Username. There is a missing comma, I guess. Yes. Absolutely. Run it again. Alright, so the master password I'm typing, and it's correct, and actually it says insert into entries, blah blah blah, and we have the entry injected into the database. Okay, so you want to get and delete entries by ID. So first let's implement the list command, which will list all the entries what we have in the database. I'm adding the necessary imports, and it's gonna have a nice doc string, and let's get all the entries. Entries, session query, entry, and we need all. Later on we might add a filtering or some kind of search functionality, but right now it is not important for me. And I'm gonna create a table with rich table, show header I don't need, and I'm gonna add a nice header style. Okay, and table out column, and how it works: first you specify the name of the column, and style it's gonna be dim, and also I'm gonna specify the width, because I want it to be a fixed site column. Alright, and also I'm gonna add the remaining columns, the site URL, the username, and the email. I'm not gonna list the password because that's just pointless. And almost the last step, for entry in entries, table add row, and entry ID. Why I need the str? Because by default which cannot print numbers on the screen, but the remaining items are strings. And the last one, entry email. Okay, so I need a console, and I just need to print it on the console. Okay, so let's see. Ta-dam, I have the your site youremail.com. So the next one is gonna be retrieve the password from the database. It's gonna be the get. First, just import the necessary dependencies, add the nice doc string, and actually it will take only one single option, and the one single option is gonna be the ID of the item from the entries table what I want to retrieve. And also I'm gonna ask for the master password, because I don't want anyone to be able to retrieve something without properly authenticating themselves. So the first argument is ID, second one is the master password. Okay, first I'm gonna use the same thing what I used in the add. I'm checking the master password, but for that I need a master password hash. So I'm going to retrieve the configuration from the database, and once I have it, I'm getting the master key, which will help me retrieve the password from the database. Alright, once I have it, I'm filtering for the entry. Filter entry ID is ID. I'm gonna get the first one. In entry is not none. I mean, I found something. I'm gonna use the decrypt password stuff, and I'm gonna copy it to the clipboard. So let's add the decrypt method. It's gonna be very, very similar to the encrypt, except I'm not gonna use the encrypt method. I'm gonna use the decrypt, and also I need to import unpad here. Alright, so it should be okay. So, and the last thing what I need to do, I need to inform the user what had happened here. So if we return an entry, I'm just gonna say this is the entry site URL, else nothing. Okay, get -e1. Okay, entry retrieved successfully, and this is my secret password which I just provided when I created that entry. Alright, so once I have this done, the last thing what I need to do is delete. Basically it's gonna be exactly the same. I will check the master password, but with the session I don't need to get the master key. If the master password is okay, I'm just gonna delete the entry and we are done. Okay, so let's implement the delete method. Those are the import what we need, and this is the doc string. I'm also going to do the same with the master password, but you have to keep in mind this is not the safe way, and actually asking for a master password is not efficient here, because once I have access to the SQLite database, I can just open the prompt, type SQLite 3 passwords SQLite, and delete the entry what I want. But for the sake of the video, I'm gonna get the thing. I'm gonna use the same technique what I used with the get. So the arguments ID and mass. Okay, so if everything is okay, I'm just gonna find that entry with that ID, and if it is if it exists, I'm just gonna delete it. And finally I will notify the user that what he asked for, it is done by our software. Alright, so let's add add one more. Alright, use list to see what we have, and we have 3 different entries. Let's try to retrieve the third one, the password. And this is the password that we provided, so it's working fine. And let's try to delete. So entry deleted successfully. Let me see what we have in the database. And the third entry is gone. Alright guys, and this is for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, share it with your friends. And if you have any questions, leave a comment and I will try to answer it as soon as I can. See you in the next one. Bye bye.